First thing I did was I unraveled some string. I weighted it down at one end and just pulled it out straight so I could have a straight shot across the yard. Once I was pretty happy with that, I went ahead and sprayed some guidelines with some marking paint. Kind of estimated the width of the bucket there. Okay, here I am getting back in position and starting to dig. The first couple of shovelfuls, a lot of times when you're going into the surface of dirt, at least for me, is a little disappointing. I think I'm going to do some modifications to the bucket to remedy this, but it's not a big deal because once you get down through the dirt, you can really move some material. What happens if you want to really break into the ground hard without having a rounded pit like that or rounded opening like that when you dig it out, is extending the boom all the way, and you can see me kind of trying to do that. When I reposition, I'm moving up so I can get more bite in the teeth, and I think I can adjust that later on when I pull it apart next time. Adjust the linkage up there so that, or put new linkage up there so that when the arm is extended, the teeth are extended more parallel to the arm, or the boom I should say. Now here I'm repositioning. One thing I want you to notice, I try not to reposition the machine when the bucket is down underground, below grade. I don't want to twist or do any damage to the arm or any damage to the bucket. So even though I'm walking this thing around, you'll notice for the most part I really try to use the top of the ground, not beneath, to move around, so I'm not dragging anything or causing any undue pressure on the pivot pin as well. Now here's what I was saying before. When you first start digging, you have a little bit of difficulty, but honestly, this machine really shines when you're going beneath grade in front of you. Once you get down there, the bucket and everything, the curl is just perfect to just move massive amounts of dirt. And I mean, really digging is two things. Digging is breaking through the dirt, part one, and part two is just moving the material. So I just try to use the machine as gently as I can, just take my time. Just be patient. It's kind of a fun dig. Anyone who complains about how slow this trencher digs has never had to dig with a shovel. Yet I'm moving right along. I got the first 50 foot of this ditch the first night dug out in about 2 hours. Now it's important to notice that for me, the actual depth of the ditch, I'm just hoping to get it down deep. I'm not trying to grade at this point. Because I'm putting a solid drain line in this ditch, I'll be grading the drain line in the ditch when I'm filling it back in, which means I may be pushing dirt beneath it to hold it up in different places. But anyway, I'll be trying to level the line and then burying it with the proper grade. Not level, but at the proper grade. Again, the trencher just moves right along. I was lucky there aren't, but I only hit a couple of rocks and a couple of stumps as I was digging through these, and they were relatively small compared to what I've tried to fight against in the past, so I was moving right along with this dig. Again, below grade, you can see how much those teeth are just digging in. Once you get the full force of that arm coming across. And generally, I try to dig with the arm, even though you see the bucket curling a lot. I'm really moving the material with the curl. Now, the curl is very valuable if you're trying to crack a stump or something loose. But I try to use my arm mostly for the digging. And again, I try never to push dirt or do anything like that with the pivot. I don't want to swing. I don't want to torque anything and damage it. I mean, sometimes I have to be gentle moving it around because I'm afraid I'll put it in a strain and cause some damage to the arm, or actually to the piston. Now here I am repositioning, and before, like I say, I made the mistake of not digging the trench all the way to the muddy section. Now watch here, see I have to actually maneuver. I don't want to fall into the ditch with the outrigger, but I could get around those steps by just taking my time and positioning as I go. Again, this film obviously has been sped up tremendously. I was going to joke and say I had a new hydraulic motor, but that would just be silly. So here's the problem. Because I dug the ditch straight before, and don't get me wrong, I could put some plywood over the ditch and I could position the trencher into position so that I was digging straight, but because of the heel and because of the dirt that accumulated there, it was going to be a little awkward. So I ended up having to dig this portion of the ditch from more of an angle, diagonal, and as such it caused a bigger hole, more of a crater really. So it did slow me down a bit. I was doing more digging than I think was necessary. But again, the grade is really dependent on the pipe once I get it in there, and all of this will be filled back in. I'll push it back in with the Coyote tractor when I'm done. But you can see how messy a hole it made here at this end because I was digging sideways. And really, I can move a lot of material that way, but it's just not as neat or elegant as digging straight down the trench. And I'll have some comments here. We'll take a look at this completed project.